gimmeabreakman. Give him a break because he sure deserves one. And when he's back from his break, you'll see his parts made in Japan. He is the modern man. So give him a break.
Okay, hello there YouTube. It's Victor with my GoPro in the car in a tiny neighborhood. I just dropped off a coworker. I don't know where the hell I am. And now I'm going to go visit my wife. And it's about 28 minutes away. So let's get started. Let's see. First thing to do, we go this way. And today this is a laundry video. What that means, if you're new to the channel, is it means you don't have to watch, you know. I'm going to make this with the GoPro. So it'll be, whoops, semi-interesting for anyone who's interested in Japan and what Japan looks like. Oh, this is the neighborhood in Japan, right? And the car is shaking because we're sitting at a stop. When the car is moving, it's a much smoother picture. I actually bought a proper mic for this. See, it's here, and I recorded a video just a few minutes ago, but it doesn't seem to work. So I'm really disappointed. This plugs right in. It's got an adapter and all that, but it doesn't work. So if anyone knows what the F is going on there, let me know. Okay, so this is a little typical little neighborhood, suburban type neighborhood. Got a park over there, see? A little park. Nice houses, look at old, cool houses. Yeah, look at that. Like a castle type house, huh? Anyway, this video is a response that I've gotten, it's kind of a response to a couple mails I've gotten regarding teaching in Japan as an English teacher when you are not a native English teacher, but you are qualified. I've got two funny, well, one funny story and one person whose email I will answer, you know, by answering the first one. So two birds with one stone. Okay, so I got an email last Thursday from a guy who said, "Hey man, big fan, watch your video, blah blah." And he's teaching in Singapore right now. He's teaching in Singapore, and he's been teaching I think 5 years in Singapore. And he has a TESOL, and he says, "I'm originally from the United States. I'm now in Singapore. I'm teaching kindergarten." He sends me his resume, copy of his diploma, and also 2 videos showing himself teaching. When I first got the mail, I saw it on my iPhone. I couldn't see the videos for some reason. They didn't show up, but I checked on my computer later and I saw. I sent him, I said, "Send me a headshot." You know, I don't need anybody, but I know people who need people. Sometimes. Don't start sending me your resumes. But you know, I thought, okay, he was a really nice email, and I thought, oh, maybe I can help him out. I'll send it on to somebody who might be looking for somebody. But the person I'm looking for, this is what I hate to say. But the truth is, and this is, I know, discrimination. It's probably against the law somewhere, but it's one of those things where you can't really get anybody for it. And I don't even know I don't know if it's against the law in Japan, but I know schools that tend to hire young people, and especially young women, okay, because they teach a lot of kids, and kids, you know, seem to more comfortable around women, and women in general are really young and yay, let's play, let's sing a song, blah blah. They're okay with that. Some guys don't like that, the singing song kind of crap, right? I'm okay with it. I will admit, in the beginning it was a little difficult to reach the child inside of me and, you know, be comfortable with that. But now I realize it's all part of the. It's not a big deal, you know. So what? You're singing a song. A big deal. It doesn't mean you're not a man anymore. So, anyway, the point is, some schools want a certain kind of teacher, and those teachers are usually white, usually very foreign-looking, ideally blonde and blue-eyed, of course, but not necessarily. I mean, look at me. I'm not either of those, but I've never had problems getting jobs. Ideally, not Asian-looking, but again, there are many people who are native speakers who are actually Asian-looking, but get those jobs. So, and blacks as well, all kinds of, and Hispanics as well. So, anyone who's qualified and who's fairly decent, presentable. You gotta be presentable. Come on, you're dealing with people all day. Wow, look at this town. That's what it looks like. It's typical Japan, right? Okay, so let's go back to this. This tight. Ooh, cars. So he sends me this mail, and he wants to know if I can help him or I can refer. I don't remember the original mail actually, but I remember saying, you know what? I saw his videos, and here's the thing. He's Asian looking, which is not itself a terrible thing. You know, there are a lot of people who have jobs here who are Asian looking. I just said that. I'm repeating myself now. But he's a little bit old, on the older side, which is, again, not terrible on its own, but he looks to be about my age or older. Here's the bad part, okay? He's actually got a heavy accent. It's heavy enough that I can tell that he's not really originally American, as he claims, unless he grew up in Chinatown or something. I think he could be Vietnamese or Thai, or from Thailand, or Chinese, Taiwanese, I don't know. But anyway, what the hell? It says I gotta go in a circle. That's impossible. No, that's impossible. Okay, good. So, and he sent me a couple of video clips of himself teaching, and he's teaching primarily children, which for me is a minus because first of all, I don't need anybody. But if I were going to hire somebody, I would hire somebody who can teach it, who's teaching adults or has adult experience. And just because you teach children now doesn't mean you can't teach adults, of course. But so he sends me these videos of himself with an iPad. He's holding an iPad in front of him, and he's showing how he teaches. And the way he teaches is he's holding an iPad. He says, "What color is it? This is black color." Right? And then he slides his hand across the screen. What color is it? This, and this is orange color. Now, I'm looking at him going, wow, I hear his accent, and it doesn't sound natural to me. Like, really? This is orange color? Nobody says that. We say it's orange, right? We don't say this is orange color. You're welcome. You're welcome. We just let you go by. No, not even a thank you. Nothing. Yeah. Single mom. That's why you're single. No, just kidding. Okay, politeness here. So, we're going just to get you a view of, see, this is where we're going now. I don't know where the hell we are. But, this is telling me nothing. This is not helping at all. Like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be going with this map. Anyway, so it's not natural, right? And I tell him, the truth is, I don't think he can make it as an English teacher, at least not easily. So, oh, shit. Oh, God. Whoa. I'm stuck. Oh, this is a very bad one. I didn't know it was going to turn into one road. Of course, everyone else knew, but you going to let me through? Let me in? Thank you. Look at this old, crappy garden over here on the left. Look at that. I almost got a crash on film there. That would have been kind of sad. Look at that old building. Hokusei Garden. Okay. So, let's get back to the story. So, I tell him, I try to be nice. I say, okay, you should come to Japan. It's really competitive. You should come to Japan on a student visa. And while you're on your student visa, you'll have, you'll buy yourself. You'll have to pay tuition, but you can look around and look for a job, maybe, right? But the way things are looking now, it doesn't look so good. I don't know where the hell I'm going here. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. I'm completely lost. Oh, no wonder, keep telling me to backtrack. I gotta get out of here. Okay. I'm gonna try to get out of here. Someone's gonna beep at me in a minute. Okay. I'm gonna turn right here and see if this thing was backtracking on itself, so it looked like I was going straight, but no, actually no. So I've got to turn around. Okay. Whoops. There we go. So I try to be nice, and I tell him that that I don't think it's a good idea. To be. Oh, looks like I gotta go back. God, I'm really lost here. It doesn't matter. You guys don't care. Let's see if I can turn around here. No one's coming, so we're okay. There's a temple back there. I feel like I've been in this area before. It's really familiar, but. Okay, so I try to be nice. I said you should come over on a student visa because I don't think you're going to find a job easily that way. His English is not that great. Nobody speaks like that, you know. I mean, it's excellent, but it's just not native speaker level, right? And I hate to tell you, but a lot of Japanese, Japanese in the world kind of suck as English speakers. Generally speaking, they're among the worst in the world. But there are quite a few. Even that said, you know, admitting that and putting that aside, there are still quite a few Japanese who speak very, very well and almost as good as native speakers. There's quite a few I've met who just have excellent English ability here, and I teach quite a few students who just have excellent accents and teach children. And they're housewives, so they teach for a lot less than he would require to live here. I mean, you're going to need at least, worst case, you need $150,000 a month to live. Worst case, and that's scraping by. Most teachers make $250, average, okay? Which means quite a few start at $230, whatever. Anyway, and they pick up extra time. So, I tell him, come over on a student visa and look around, maybe you can find something. He writes back and he says, I got a deal for you. And he's like selling himself, which is good. He's very aggressive, which is good. It's a great thing to do, actually. And he says, I'll tell you what, I will work for you 8 to 9 hours a day, okay? 5 days a week for 2 or 3 months until I get another job. If you help me get the visa, let me get into the country, okay? And you can use me at your school, and all I ask is that you help me find some place to lay my head at night. I need a cheap place. I don't care what, it's old and dirty and smelly. That's what he said. He wrote, I don't care if it's like a dump in LA, like some kind of Skid Row type house. So I'm like, okay, no. I mean, my first thought is no. I'm actually kind of surprised at his gall a little bit, because, like, first of all, I said I don't need anybody, so you giving me a discount, this doesn't help me. I don't need anybody. I'd have to fire myself, and then what would I do? Well, actually, that's not a bad idea, but I wouldn't hire him to take over my adult classes. Okay, so, but just to be fair, to make sure it's not just my view, I showed the video to some students, some high-level students that have been with me for a while, and they shake their heads. They're like, "Oh, no, that's strange." Like, they said, if you hire him, you will lose students. That's what they said. So that's the honest truth. And they told me, Victor, you should tell him the truth. And honestly, they spoke English, their accents were better than his. Speaking ability probably, and writing ability, his is probably superior, but that's not really that important in the classroom. It's different. So yes, he has a TESOL. Yes, he has 5 years experience. Yes, he's not shy enough to, he's not shy. He puts himself on camera. That's all great and everything, but he's just not good enough. There's a lot of Japanese who speak English already. Now, that said, I do know that there are many non-native English speakers who teach English in Japan. So, I personally wouldn't hire that kind of person. I shouldn't that kind of person like they're a race, but I wouldn't hire someone who's not a native, personally, okay? How the hell do I do this? I'm so lost. However, there are schools, and in fact there was a school near Nagoya Station. I don't know if it's still there, and I don't even know the name of it, but I know one of my students used to go there on the side, like, to get extra practice, and it was really cheap for her. I think she paid like 1,000 yen an hour. So I'm thinking the school must have paid the teachers like 700 or maybe 600 yen an hour. Oh shit. Okay. So they must have paid them even less than they were paying, than she was paying. And they had all kinds of teachers. They had teachers from Nigeria and I don't know, Pakistan, all these different teachers from all over the world. And in a way, it's great. It's great practice for the student, but it's not my job to convince the students that studying with a non-native person with a slight accent is a good thing. It's good practice in the real world. Although, actually, living in America, a lot of people have accents. It's not a big deal. My parents both have accents. You have to learn how to understand those different people's accents. And you can get jobs. Okay, you can get jobs in Japan if you're not a non-native, but it's extremely difficult, and it's probably not going to be the first school. You're probably not going to come over here and get a school to sponsor you like that. Those people usually have their visas already. They already work for. They're married. They have a spousal visa, or they have a visa through some other means, and they're doing that on the side, and it's good extra money. But I'm sure. I'm not sure, but let's say you work 40 hours. Let's say you work 50 hours a week. then you could do it. But it's tough. Teaching 50 hours a week, it's hard work. Back in the day when I first came over, I could do 10 50-minute classes, okay? Like on a big day. And that was like, yay, I made money today. I think I was getting $2,500 an hour. It was a crappy school, but, you know, they offered so many classes that one day make $25,000. That's not bad. Then after that, you go out and get drunk with all the other teachers. When I was 22 or 23 years old. Looking at the map here. So anyway, the point is you can't get this job. Now, another guy writes me from Belgium who says he's certified. He does have a slight accent. There's other people who have better accents. He thinks with practice he can get rid of the accent. But the problem is when you come over, there is kind of a hierarchy of English teachers. Whoops. And the hierarchy is, generally speaking, of course it depends on the school, but generally speaking, Americans and Canadians. Of course, Canadians just below Americans because we're better than they are. And then British people. How do I do this? How do I turn? How do I turn? Oh, I missed it. I missed the turn. God damn it. I missed the turn. This map sucks. Looks like I'm okay though. I don't have to go that way. Okay. I missed it. That's fine. This way's fine. Okay. That would have been the highway, but that's fine. I would have had to pay money, so that's good. What was I saying? What was I saying? Yeah, that's a hierarchy. Americans, Canadians, then British people, right? And of course it depends on the Brits, because I've met some Brits, I don't know what the hell they're saying. And there are schools that only hire Brits. And the Queen's English, I'm talking the Queen's English. If you speak with, you know, a snatched tribe Brad Pitt accent, forget it. You know, no one's going to understand you. I have met a couple Brits, so I didn't understand what the hell they were saying. I had one guy who kept talking to me in a bar once, and he kept talking to me, and I'm like, what? What? Screaming in the bar, I had no idea. Finally, like, he wouldn't leave me alone, and he was drunk, and I had to, like manhandle him off me. I felt bad, because, you know, like Churchill said, the Americans and Brits are separated by the language, the common language. Okay, so that's the hierarchy. Then after that, after the Brits, you have Australians, New Zealanders, and probably above them, maybe South Africans. They're kind of on the side. I know a South African who has beautiful English, speaks very well, of course. I understand everything he's saying. And he's a very nice guy, completely presentable, works for a company. Of course, we know Pickles, the Gaijin, Jamaican English here in Japan. Seems to be doing fine, you know. Speak intelligibly, or even if you're Australian or New Zealand, of course, if you have a slight accent, or it's not a heavy Australian, New Zealand, most people don't care. However, the problem is most Japanese can't tell, so they go by your passport. So they prefer to hire the passport, right? They hire you with, oh, I got an American passport. So even if you had a slight, like, okay, like I'm originally Hispanic, but I have no accent. But even if I did, I could probably get a job just based on my passport, right? And the fact that it's any accent that I'm, if my accent were very slight, right? Yeah, that's one thing. The other thing that's important about non-native speakers, which is something that makes that I would not hire them for this reason, is they are at a slight cultural disadvantage, because there is something called cultural literacy. And it was a big thing in the 1980s. They actually had a dictionary they put out called the Dictionary of Cultural Literacy for Americans. And it basically told you all the things you're supposed to know. That even if you're fluent in English, you have to know certain things about history. And these days it would include music. Like if you don't know, if you can't read a newspaper, a New York Times newspaper, for example, or any major newspaper article, and you can't understand the references to culture, then you're not going to be a very useful teacher teaching advanced classes in Japan, because you've got to be able to understand the references to literature, history, art, things like that. I'll give you an example. I've taught scripts, movie scripts and TV scripts. Try teaching a Simpsons TV script. It's incredibly rich. And you might think, Simpsons, that's stupid. Don't! You know, eat my shorts kind of stuff. Don't have a cow, man. Yeah, that's part of it too. But even those are examples of cultural literacy too. Don't have a cow is something Bart Simpson says, you know. He made it famous. if you don't know that and you're teaching English, if someone references that expression, you wouldn't understand the Bart Simpson reference. So it's important to know that, right? I had a teacher from Puerto Rico, great teacher, lovely fella, great guy, but he's Puerto Rican, and he was teaching Spanish, which is no problem. So my father was joked, oh, if he's Puerto Rican, they don't speak Spanish. Anyway, he did not know who The Catcher in the Rye was. He didn't understand Holden Caulfield. Who's Holden Caulfield, right? He hadn't read Hemingway's books or Steinbeck or any of those books that we. When you're growing up in America, there's a certain curriculum, a certain canon, a certain collection of books that all students are required to read. Many of those include, not Gone with the Wind, Old Man in the Sea, Catcher in the Rye, those type of books. He hadn't read any of those, right? He didn't know who Algernon was, the mouse from Flowers for Algernon. Things like that he didn't know, right? And those are things that make up cultural references or cultural literacy. That a guy, now I don't know the guy from Singapore except through an email, and I'm not trying to knock the guy. And if you're watching this, man, I'm not trying to insult you. I'm trying to be real with you and give you an honest answer. I'm not saying you can't do it, but it's going to be hard. And I admire your aggressive, your tenacity, your persistence, but I can't do it personally, and I don't need you. I don't need anybody right now. I'm not looking for another teacher right now. And if I were, I'd be looking for a part-timer, someone to take off a few classes and give me a little bit more time to make these videos. So, and the guy from Belgium, the same thing. It's possible, but first you've got to get into the country, get a visa in another way. That would be an easier way. Come to the country and somehow figure out how to get a visa, either a student visa, a marriage visa, spousal visa, or there are those JET programs. I think the JET programs don't necessarily hire people who are just native speakers. I think you can get those from other countries. If your country might have that deal with Japan. Is it JET or is it ALT? I think it's a JET program. Check out Jason Argonauts. I'll try to remember to leave a link. If I don't remember, tell me in the description, and tell me in the comments, and I'll add it. But there is a guy named My Argonauts who has a channel dedicated to JET and how to get into JET and etc. And I'm pretty sure he can answer all those questions. So what are we doing here? I'm gonna take a left. Okay, so that's whoops. Oh shit. Whoa! Damn. I think something's wrong with this map. Or I'm just miscalculating. Or maybe the fact that I'm talking to you guys as I'm doing this is it would have been cool if I had an accent, right? Anyway, I'm not trying to be arrogant about this. I'm not saying Americans are better. I'm just telling you this is the way it works in Japan. Okay? If you're blonde, blue-eyed, and American, you've got no problems, right? If you've got a BA or BS. And again, for the last time, it doesn't matter what you major in as long as you have a Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor's of Science or a degree from a 4-year or 3-year institute, depending on what country you're from. An associate degree is not enough. It won't get you that. Unless you're coming from a country like Canada or Australia, where they have a working holiday visa exchange program, then you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about this at all. Also look into that, The guy from Singapore, do you have 2 passports? Does Singapore have an exchange program with Japan? I don't know. Maybe they do. Somebody look it up. I have a list. I have an FAQ. I'll link that too. I have an FAQ on my gimmeabreakman.com blog where I answer all those questions, many questions, and I link to those sites that tell you what the current countries that offer the work holiday programs. I give you a link to those. And anyway, useful links for anyone coming to Japan or wants to come to Japan, and general questions about being a teacher in Japan. Okay. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is a long ass blog, but I hope it helps somebody. And if I made any mistakes in this, I am always happy to be corrected. It's always best to feel free to correct me if you disagree with anything I've said in this video, or if you know people who have the jobs. But if you don't know people who have jobs who are not native speakers and they teach English, the important thing is to tell us what visa they're on, because that's the thing. If you have a spousal visa, that's a completely different story. I know a guy here in Nagoya who is an American, did not finish college, but has a spousal visa and is a pretty good job teaching English because they don't care, because he has a spousal visa, and that's one of one of the big hurdles you have to jump over to get a job here. A lot of places don't want to deal with your visa. Okay. All right. Thanks for watching. Talk to you guys soon.
I want the nipple. I want the nipple.